Okay, we are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we're on a chapter called Visit to the Sinti Brahmo Samaj. It's October 1884. And we stop kind of in the middle of chapters, so we just read for a while. Sri Ramakrishna was resting. The Mawari devotees had been singing bhajan on the roof. They were celebrating the Krishna festival. Arrangements had been made for worship and food offering. At the host's request, the master went to see the image. He bowed down before the deity. Sri Ramakrishna was profoundly moved as he stood before the image. With folded hands he said, "O Govinda, thou art my soul. Thou art my life. Victory to Govinda. Hallowed be the name of Govinda. Thou art the embodiment of Satchidananda. O Krishna, ah Krishna. Krishna is knowledge. Krishna is mind. Krishna is life. Krishna is soul. Krishna is body. Krishna is caste. Krishna is family. O Govinda, my life and soul." Uttering these words, Sri Ramakrishna went into samadhi. He remained standing. Ram Chatterjee supported him. After a long time, the master regained consciousness of the world. The Mawari devotees were about to take out the image. The offering of food was to take place outside the room. The master joined the procession of devotees. The food was offered with arati and music. Sri Ramakrishna fanned the image. Then began the ceremony of feeding the Brahmins. They were seated on the roof. The master and his devotees also partook of the prasad. Sri Ramakrishna took leave of the host. It was evening, and the street was jammed as before with people and vehicles. He said, "Let us get out of the carriage. It can go by a back street." Proceeding on foot, he found that a betel leaf seller had opened his stall in front of a small room that looked like a hole. One could not possibly enter it without bending one's head. The master said, "How painful it is to be shut in such a small space. That is the way of worldly people. They are happy with that way of in such a life." The carriage came up after making the detour. The master entered it with Baburam, M., and Ram Chatterjee. The younger Gopal sat on the roof of the carriage. A beggar woman with a baby on her arm stood in front of the carriage waiting for alms. The master said to M., "Have you any money?" Gopal gave her something. The carriage rolled along Bur Bazaar. Everywhere there were signs of great festivity. The night was dark, but illuminated with myriads of lights. The carriage came to the Chitpur road, which was also brightly lighted. The people moved in lines like ants. The crowd looked at the gaily decorated stores and stalls on both sides of the road. There were sweetmeat stores and perfume stalls. Pictures, beautiful and gaudy, hung from the walls. Well-dressed shoppers sprayed the visitors with rose water. The carriage stopped in front of a perfume stall. The master looked at the pictures and lights and felt happy as a child. People were talking loudly. He cried out, "Go forward, move on." He laughed. He said to Baburam with a loud laugh, "Move on. What are you doing?" The devotees laughed too. They understood that the master wanted them to move forward to God and not be satisfied with their present state. The carriage drove on. The master noticed that M had brought some cloths with him for him. M had with him 2 pieces of unbleached and 2 pieces of washed cloth, but the master had asked him only for the unbleached ones. He said to M, "Give me the unbleached ones. You may keep the others." "All right, you may give me one of them." M, "Then I shall take back 1 piece. Master, "Then take both." M, "As you please, sir." Master, You can give me those when I need them. You see, yesterday, Benny Paul wanted me to carry away some food for Ramlal. I told him I couldn't. It is impossible for me to lay up for the future. M. That's all right, sir. I shall take back the 2 pieces of washed cloth. Master tenderly, don't you see? If any desire arises in my mind, it is for the good of you all. You are my own. I shall tell you if I need anything. M. Humbly, yes, sir. Referring to a devotee, Sri Ramakrishna said, I said to him yesterday, tomorrow I shall go to Bura Bazaar. Please meet me there. Do you know what he said? He said, the tram fare will be 1 anna. Where shall I get it? He had been to Benny Paul's garden yesterday and had officiated there as a priest. No one had asked him to do it. He had put on the show himself. He wanted people to know that he was a member of the Brahmo Samaj. To him, can you tell me what he meant when he said that the tram would cost him 1 anna? The conversation turned to the Annakuta festival of the Marwaris. Master to the devotees, what you have seen here, one sees at Vrindavan too. Rakal has been seeing the same thing there. But the mound of food at Vrindavan is higher, and more people gather there. There you also see the Govardhan Hill. That's the only difference. Do you notice the Marwari's devotion? That is the real Hindu ideal. That is the Sanatana Dharma. Did you notice their joy when they carried the image in procession? They were happy to think that they bore the throne of God on their shoulders. The Hindu religion alone is the Sanatana Dharma. The various creeds you hear of nowadays have come into existence through the will of God and will disappear again through His will. They will not last forever. Therefore I say, I bow down at the feet of even the modern devotees. The Hindu religion has always existed and will always exist. M was going home. He saluted the master and got out of the carriage near Shobha's bazaar. Sri Ramakrishna proceeded to Dakshineshwar in a happy mood. Okay, and that's the end of that chapter. If there are any questions or comments. Okay, the next chapter is called With Various Devotees, and it's Sunday, October 26th, 1884. October is the puja season in Bengal, so there'll be pujas, worships of different gods and goddesses throughout this whole area time frame. That's when Durga Puja happens too. Okay. Sunday, October 26, 1884. It was afternoon, and many devotees were present in the master's room. Among them were Manamohan, Mahimacharan, and M. They were joined later by Ishan and Hazra. Balaram and Rakal were still staying at Vrindavan. The many young boys who at this time began to seek the master's company later became his intimate disciples. Latu arrived with the master and Yogan. He became Swami Yogananda, who lived in the village and was a frequent visitor. Sri Ramakrishna, happy child of the Divine Mother that he was, radiated a joy and peace that were reflected in the hearts of his devotees and found expression in their happy faces. They were seated on the floor and had their eyes fixed on the master, who was standing in a pensive mood like a boy. Master to Manamohan, I see Rama in all things. You are all sitting here, but I see only Rama in every one of you. Manamohan, yes, sir, it is Rama who has become everything. But as you say, though all water is Narayana, yet some water is fit for drinking, and some for washing the hands and face, and some only for cleaning pots and pans. Master, it's true, but I see that it is God himself who has become everything, the universe and its living beings. Presently, the master sat down on the small couch near his bed. Master to Mahimacharan, there's no question of my being truthful. But must I develop a mania for it? If I once say that I shall not eat, then it is impossible for me to eat, even if I'm hungry. Again, if I ask a particular man to take my water jug to the pine grove, he alone must carry it. If another man carries it, he will have to take it back. What a fix I'm in. Is there no way out of it? Besides, I can't carry anything with me, neither food nor betel leaf, for that means laying up for the future. I can't hold a little clay in my hand. Just then, a man entered the room and told the master that Hridoi was waiting to see him in Jadamalik's garden near the gate. The master said to the devotees, I shall have to see Hridoi. Please don't leave the room. He put on his slippers and went towards the east gate of the temple garden, M accompanying him. The road through the garden was covered with red brick dust. The manager of the temple, who was standing on the road, saluted Sri Ramakrishna. The master passed the north entrance of the temple compound, where the bearded sentries sat. On his left, he passed the kuti, the building used by the proprietors of the temple. Then he walked on down the road, which was lined on both sides with flowering trees, passing the reservoir on his right, and went outside the temple garden. He found Hridoi waiting for him near the gate of Jadamalik's garden. At the sight of the master, Hridoi, who had been standing there with folded hands, prostrated himself before him. When the master told him to get up, he rose and began to cry like a child. How strange! Tears also appeared in the master's eyes. He wiped them away with his hands. Hridoi had made him suffer endless agonies, yet the master wept for him. Hridoi had taken care of the master for quite a long time, but he had, as he said, tortured him as much as he cared for him, and so was banned from his presence. Master, why are you here now? Hridoi weeping, I have come to see you. To whom else shall I tell my sorrows? Sri Ramakrishna smiled and said to him by way of consolation, one cannot avoid such sorrows in the world. Pleasure and pain are inevitable in worldly life. Pointing to him, that is why they come here now and then. Hridoi weeping, I am deprived of your company, and so I suffer. Master, why? Was it not you who said to me, you follow your ideal and let me follow mine? Hridoi, yes, I did say that, but what did I know? Master, I shall say goodbye to you now. Come another day and we shall talk together. Today is Sunday, and many people have come to see me. They are waiting in my room. Have you had a good crop in the country? Hridoi, it isn't bad. Master, let me say goodbye. Come another day. Hridoi again prostrated himself before the master and started back to his room with M. Master to M. He tormented me as much as he served me. When my stomach trouble had reduced my body to a couple of bones and I couldn't eat anything, he said to me one day, look at me, how well I eat. You've just taken a fancy that you can't eat. Again, he said, you are a fool. If I weren't living with you, where would your profession of holiness be? One day he tormented me so much that I stood on the embankment ready to give up my body by jumping into the Ganga, which was then at flood tide. M became speechless at these words of the master. For such a man, he had shed tears a few minutes before. Master to M. Well, he served me a great deal. Then why should he have fallen on such evil days? He took care of me like a parent bringing up a child. As for me, I would remain unconscious of the world day and night. Besides, I was ill for a long time. I was completely at his mercy. M did not know how to answer Sri Ramakrishna, so he kept silent. Sri Ramakrishna returned to his room and sat on the small couch. The devotees had been waiting for him eagerly. Several devotees from Kanagar had arrived. One of them came forward to question the master. Devotee: Sir, we hear that you go into samadhi and experience ecstasy. Please explain why and how you get into that mood. Master: Sri Radha used to experience Mahabhava. If any of her companions wanted to touch her while she was in that state, another of them would say, "Please do not touch that body, the playground of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is now sporting in her body." It is not possible to experience bhava or mahabhava without the realization of God. When a fish comes up from a great depth, you see a movement on the surface of the water. And if it is a big one, there is much splashing about. That is why a devotee laughs and weeps and dances and sings in the ecstasy of God. One cannot remain in bhava very long. People take a man to be crazy if he sits before a mirror and looks at his face all the time. Devotee: Sir, we see that you are God. We hear that you see God. If you do, please show him to us. Master, everything depends on God's will. What can a man do? While chanting God's name, sometimes tears flow, and at other times the eyes remain dry. While meditating on God, sometimes I feel a great deal of inner awakening, and some days I feel nothing. A man must work. Only then can he see God. One day, in an exalted mood, I had a vision of the Haldapukar. It was a pond out in his native village. I saw a low-caste villager drawing water after pushing aside the green scum. Now and then he took up the water in the palm of his hand and examined it. In that vision, it was revealed to me that the water cannot be seen without pushing aside the green scum that covers it. That is to say, one cannot develop love of God or obtain his vision without work. Work means meditation, japa, and the like. The chanting of God's name and glories is work too. You may also include charity, sacrifice, and so on. If you want butter, you must let the milk turn to curd. It must be left in a quiet place. When the milk becomes curd, you must work hard to churn it. Only then can you get butter from the milk. Mahimacharan: That is true, sir. Work is certainly necessary. One must labor hard. Only then does one succeed. There is so much to read. The scriptures are endless. Master to Mahimacharan: How much of the scriptures can you read? What will you gain by mere reasoning? Try to realize God before anything else. Have faith in the Guru's words. And work. If you have no Guru, then pray to God with a longing heart. He will let you know what he is like. What will you learn of God from books? As long as you are at a distance from the marketplace, you hear only an indistinct roar. But it is quite different when you are actually there. Then you hear and see everything distinctly. You hear people saying, "Here are your potatoes, take them and give me the money." From a distance you hear only the rumbling noise of the ocean. Go near it and you will see many boats sailing about, birds flying and waves rolling. One cannot get true feeling about God from the study of books. This feeling is something very different from book learning. Books, scriptures, and science appear as mere dirt and straw after the realization of God. The one thing needful is to be introduced to the master of the house. Why are you so anxious to know beforehand how many houses and gardens and how many government securities the master possesses? The servants of the house would not allow you even to approach these, and they would certainly not tell you about their master's investments. Therefore, somehow or other become acquainted with the master, even if you have to jump over the fence or take a few pushes from the servants. Then the master himself will tell you all about his houses and gardens and his government securities. And what is more, the servants and the doorkeeper will salute you when you are known to the master. I'll laugh. Ramakrishna gives so many different examples of how to realize God. Devotee, now the question is how to become acquainted with the master. Everyone laughs. Master. That is why I say that work is necessary. It will not do to say that God exists and then idle away your time. You must reach God somehow or other. Call on him in solitude and pray to him. O Lord, reveal thyself to me. Weep for him with a longing heart. You roam about in search of lust and greed like a madman. Now be a little mad for God. Let people say, this man has lost his head for God. Why not renounce everything for a few days and call on God in solitude? What will you achieve by simply saying that God exists and doing nothing about it? There are big fish in the Halda Pukur, but can you catch them by merely sitting idly on the bank? Prepare some spiced bait and throw it into the lake. Then the fish will come from the deep water and you will see ripples. That will make you happy. Perhaps a fish will jump with a splash and you will get a glimpse of it. Then you will be so glad. Milk must be turned to curd and the curd must be churned. Only then will you get butter. To Mahima, what a nuisance. Someone must show God to a man while he himself sits idly by all the while. Someone must extract the butter and hold it in front of his mouth. I'll laugh. What a bother. Someone else must catch the fish and give it to him. A man wanted to see the king. The king lived in the inner court of the palace, beyond 7 gates. No sooner did the man pass the first gate than he exclaimed, "Oh, where is the king?" But there were 7 gates, and he must pass them one after another before he could see the king. Mahima Charan, by what kind of work can one realize God? Master, it is not that God can be realized by this work and not by that. The vision of God depends on his grace. Still, a man must work a little with longing for God in his heart. If he has longing, he will receive the grace of God. To attain God, a man must have certain favorable conditions: the company of holy men, discrimination, and the blessings of a real teacher. Perhaps his elder brother takes the responsibility for the family. Perhaps his wife has spiritual qualities and is very virtuous. Perhaps he is not married at all or entangled in worldly life. He succeeds when conditions like these are fulfilled. In a certain family, a man lay seriously ill. He was at the point of death. Someone said, "Here's a remedy. First, it must rain when the star Swati is in the ascendant. Then some of that rainwater must collect in a human skull. Then a frog must come there, and a snake must chase it. And as the frog is about to be bitten by the snake, it must jump away, and the poison of the snake must drop into the skull. You must prepare a medicine from this poison and give it to the patient, then he will live. The head of the family consulted the almanac about the star and set out at the right moment. With great longing of heart, he began to search for the different ingredients. He prayed to God, "O Lord, I shall succeed only if you bring together all the ingredients." He was roaming about. As he was roaming about, he actually saw a skull lying on the ground. Presently there came a shower of rain. Then the man exclaimed, "O gracious Lord, I have got the rainwater under Svati, and the skull too. What is more, some of the rain has fallen into the skull. Now be kind enough to bring together the other ingredients." He was reflecting with a yearning heart when he saw a poisonous snake approaching. His joy knew no bounds. He became so excited that he could feel the thumping of his own heart. "O God," he prayed, "now the snake has come too. I have procured most of the ingredients. Please be gracious and give me the remaining ones." No sooner did he pray this than a frog hopped up. The snake pursued it, and they came near the skull, and the snake was about to bite the frog. The frog jumped over the skull, and the snake's poison fell into it. The man began to dance, clapping his hands for joy. So, I say that one gets everything through yearning. A man cannot realize God unless he renounces everything mentally. A sadhu cannot lay things up. Birds and wandering monks do not make provision for the morrow. Such is the state of my mind that I cannot even carry clay in my hand. Once when Hridoy tormented me, I thought of leaving this place and going to Benares. I thought of taking some clothes with me, but how could I take money? So I could not go to Benares. Everyone laughed. To Mahima, "You are a householder. Therefore you should hold both to this and to that, both to the world and to God." And we will stop there this evening. It won't be next Saturday when we have the reading again. It will be the following one. Next, are there any questions about any of this? Any comments? Okay. No comments from the Zoom people? Okay, so we have a few announcements. Excuse me. Tomorrow, our lecture is by Swami Arupeshananda, and the title is, "It Doesn't Matter What You Think." Now, I'm really looking forward to this because the titles always get me. Then Wednesday, we will have the reading of, at 5 o'clock in the temple, Swami Ramakrishnananda by Swami Tapasyananda. We're in the process of reading the lives of all of Ramakrishna's direct disciples, and right now we're on Swami Ramakrishnananda, the apostle to the South India. Then Saturday, the next Saturday, at 11, we'll be having a memorial for one of our nuns who just passed away. I think it will be on Zoom. And then I believe Swami Sarvadevananda is giving his Gita class at 5 o'clock in the temple on the 17th. And on the 18th, his topic is Sri Krishna on self-realization. We're talking a lot about Sri Krishna because his birthday is coming up, the birthday celebration. So, any other comments? Or we hope to see you in the temple or on Zoom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.